Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, I'm going to explain a movie named Cobbler. Once upon a time, there was a skilled cobbler named Max. He was an expert at fixing shoes and worked quickly. At the beginning of the story, we see Max busy mending shoes one by one. One day, as he finished his work, the nearby shop owner, a barber, came out and told Max that he should consider finding a girl and get married. Max replied that he was content being single and didn't feel the need to get married. He went back inside to continue his work. While Max was working, a tough-looking person approached his shop to get his shoes polished. Max noticed the goon's expensive-looking watch and couldn't help but to gaze at it. The goon noticed this and confronted Max about it, boasting about his collection of expensive watches. After polishing the goon's shoes, Max noticed a tear in the fare. The goon demanded that Max sew them back together as he needed them for a party. While working on the shoes, Max's machine sparkled and broke down. He urgently called a mechanic to fix it, but the mechanic said that he was busy for the next few days and couldn't help right away. This made Max worried because he had to mend the goon's shoes before the evening. However, he recalled an old machine in the basement that had been used by his grandfather, along with that even by his great-grandfather. Determined to finish the task, Max started the ancient machine to mend the shoes. In a surprising turn of events, Max successfully mends the goon's shoes using the old machine. But when he eagerly waits for the goon to return and collect his shoes, the goon doesn't show up. Max then notices that the shoes he fixed were in the size of his own, 10.5. Out of curiosity, he tries them on and is shocked to see his transformation into the goon while wearing the shoes. The sight to himself as the goon in the mirror startles him. As Max takes off the shoes and puts them back on, the transformation repeats. He becomes perplexed and sits down, trying to figure out what happened to him. He searches for more pairs of shoes in his size and finds them, but this time, wearing them doesn't change its appearance. After much contemplation, Max realizes that the shoes he wore to transform were the ones that were mended by the old machine. He suspects that they might be a magical property in the machine responsible for the bizarre transformation. Curious and excited, he repairs other shoes using the same machine and tries them on, enjoying the thrilling of changing appearances each time. However, one time he mistakenly wears the shoes of an old man and his reflection reveals a terrible and injured face. This sight terrifies Max and he becomes fearful of the unknown magic in the shoes and the old machine. In a daring move, Max decides to try on a girl's high heels after repairing them. To his surprise, he transforms into the appearance of the lady who owns the heels, and though she is the same age as him, he feels delighted to see his new look. With his newfound ability, Max visits the barber shop in his old man getup to see if anyone recognizes him. To his satisfaction, the barber fails to recognize him, boasting his excitement. He then goes to an upscale hotel, changes his appearance, and indulges into a lavish meal. However, it's time to pay the bill. He cleverly returns to his original getup using the shoes he mended and leaves without paying. While walking on the road, he spots a wealthy man with a stunning car and immediately takes a liking to it. He begins chasing the rich man and approaches him. He approaches him in his goon disguise. Intimidated, the rich man reveals his shoe size and Max demands that he hands over his shoes to face dire consequences. Scared for his life, the rich man complies, giving Max his shoes. Max happily puts on the shoes. He then spends the entire night driving the luxurious car, thrilled with experience. He cherishes the moment, and he had previously seen worn shoes from ordinary people. Eventually, Max returns home when he's greeted by his old and sick mother, whom he deeply cares for. One day, Max curiously asks his mother what she should choose to be if she wanted to chance to be someone else in his life. She lovingly responds that she's content being his mother, but if she could, she would cherish having one last dinner with Max's late father. Max feels a deep affection for his parents and their bond. The next day, a charming girl visits Max's shop to have her friend's shoes fixed. Max is enchanted by her present and assures her that it will be quickly repairing his shoes. In the evening, after mending the shoes, he couldn't resist trying them on. He decides to visit the girl house in his friend's appearance while she's in the shower. Inside the girl's house, Max realizes the risk he's taking. If the shoes accidentally come off, the girl discovers his true identity, his plan will fail, and he might end up in trouble. Fearful of the consequences, he hurries back to his shop and wears his father's shoes, leading him to transform into dearly missed and beloved father. In his father's appearance, he returns home, surprising and delighting his mother, who believed his husband has miraculously come back to life. They happily fulfill her long-standing wish of having dinner together, cherishing the precious moments and sharing fond memories. Later, Max ensures his mother is comfortable and takes off his father's shoes, placing them back in the cupboard. He reflects on the magical shoes that allowed him to experience a special reunion with his father and fulfilling his mother's heartfelt wish. The power of the shoes had brought love, joy, and cherished moments into his life. The next morning, Max is devastated to find that his beloved mother has passed away. He sits near her, heartbroken and weeping, feeling utterly alone in the world. Many people gather at the funeral to offer their support and condolences, witnessing Max's deep sorrow. After a few days, when Max finally returns to the shop, the goon comes and becomes furious, demanding his shoes and questioning why the shop has been closed for a week. Max explains that his mother has passed away and led to the shop's closure. The goon apologizes but insists on getting his shoe immediately. However, Max requests the receipt as proof for the transaction, but goon claims that there is no receipt. In response, Max refuses to hand over the shoes, stating that if there is no receipt, there is no shoes. This infuriates the goon, who threatens Max, promising to harm him if the shoes were not returned the next day. He leaves with a menacing warning. Determined to protect himself and those around, Max devises a plan. He starts keeping the customer's shoes with him and chasing the goon while wearing different disguises to avoid suspicion. During this pursuit, Max realizes the goon's true nature. He's a dangerous man who forcefully takes money from others, resorting to violence. In order to stay safe and bring justice, Max continues chasing the goon, constantly changing his appearance to keep his identity hidden. He knows that facing this dangerous man is risky, but he's willing to take a stand to protect himself and others from harm. When the goon leaves for work, Max seizes the opportunity and sneaks inside the goon's house in his disguise. Inside, he encounters the goon's friend, who is furious with him due to goon's ill behavior towards her. She storms out of the house, leaving Max alone, and searches for clues. While searching, Max stumbles upon a briefcase filled with guns. Unaware that one of the guns delivers an electric shock to immobilize people, he decides to test it on in hand. The shock overwhelms him, causing him to faint for several hours. When he finally wakes up, he hurriedly leaves the house, changing back into his goon disguise. But as he opens the door, he realizes the real goon standing right in front of him. Surprised to encounter his own clone, the goon launches a fierce attack on Max, attempting to end him. In a desperate move, Max shoots the goon with the electric gun, causing him to faint. Seizing the opportunity, Max quickly ties the goon up with ropes to restrain him. As the goon regains consciousness, he sees Max, the boy he originally encountered. The goon refuses to cooperate and mocks Max, threatening to kill him once he's free from the ropes. Amused by the goon's ignorance, Max reminds him that he can do anything while he's tied up. Changing into the goon's friend's appearance, Max starts intimidating the goon, demanding to know about the whereabouts of his expensive watches. Frightened, the goon reveals the location of the watches. As Max prepared to leave for the watches, he notices two more goons standing outside the door. Curious about the other two goons, Max questions the tied-up goon, who admits they're his associates. This new piece of information adds another layer of complexity to Max's situation, as he needs to find a way to deal with the ordeal. As the goon boasts about his associates' capabilities to end anyone, Max becomes furious and demands to know why they came here. The goon revealed they received a contract to carry out any assassination and came to pick up for advance payment. Max is surprised to hear that the advanced amount is $50,000, which excites him greatly, as he never seen such a substantial sum. Taking advantage of the situation, Max uses the electric gun to make the goon faint again and pretends to be him, going along with the goons to the house of the city's richest man named Greenbelt. There, Greenbelt hands over $50,000 as advance payment for the task. After collecting the money, Max returns to the goon's house in his lady disguise to retrieve the watches, but the goon has managed to free himself from the ropes. He threatens Max with a gun and tries to attack him. In the struggle, one of Max's shoes come off, revealing his true identity. The goon captures him and attempts to harm him. In a desperate bid to escape, Max uses his high heel to defend himself. Unfortunately, the high heel stabs the goon's neck, resulting to a fatal injury, which he dies. Max is shocked and horrified with what just happened, and he has never experienced such violence before. Filled with fear and remorse, he runs away, leaving behind the watches and the money. Overwhelmed with guilt, he decides to punish himself and goes to the police station to confess everything. However, when the police arrive at the goon's house with him, they find no evidence of the crime, no dead body, blood, or missing items. The police start doubting Max's sanity and become angry, thinking he's making up stories. Max is perplexed and troubled by the surreal turns of events, unsure what is real and what isn't. He is haunted by the unintended consequences of the actions and the burden of guilt. The police dismiss Max's claims and suggest he needs a mental checkup, leaving him confused and disheartened. However, when he returns to his shop, he finds the money and watches left behind. Surprisingly, he also discovers the lady's high heels among the belongings, leaving him wondering who could have returned them. While attempting to leave with the money of bag, the nearby barber questions Max about his recent behavior and lack of focus on the shop. Max brushes off the concerns, explaining he has returned everyone's money and rushes away. He goes to Greenbelt's place in his lady disguise, offering to take back money of the goon. But Greenbelt remains unbothered about the money and orders two men to attack Max. They overpower him and kidnap him, but Max cleverly switches the old man's shoes during the commotion, taking off the scary appearance with facial marks. With his new intimidating look, Max scares the captors. All of this leads to an accident. The men get injured when Max manages to escape the car and leave the scene. The next day, while sitting in the shop, Max accidentally spills a cold drink, revealing a poster given to him by a worker girl seeking help to save an old man from being forced out of his house. The poster reminds Max that he's the very same old man Greenbelt wanted to remove to eliminate through the goon. Max meets the worker girl and shares the entire story with her. Together, they reach the old man's house to warn him about the impending danger. The old man gratefully acknowledges the efforts and decides not to vacate the house. He cherishes the moments of his home and is determined to stay even if it means facing challenges. With Max's bravery and the worker girl's compassion, they ensure the old man's safety, standing up against anyone intending to harm him. The old man's determination to remain in the house is a testament to the significance of memories and the bond people share with the cherished places. Ingeniously, Max comes up with a plan to protect the old man's house from Greenbelt's intention. He disguises himself as the old man, wearing his shoes and taking his appearance. He meets Greenbelt and agrees to vacate the house in exchange for $1 lakh, which he accepts. The next year, Greenbelt's man delivers the money to Max, who promptly gives it to the old man. However, when Greenbelt checks on the house, she is shocked to find that Max hasn't vacated it. Instead, he boldly claims that he hasn't received any money and refuses to leave. Greenbelt issues a threatening ultimatum, but before she can take any action, a reporter shows up with a camera, capturing the entire confrontation on live TV. To provoke Greenbelt further, Max winks at her, making her furious. This leads to her losing her temper and attempting to strike him. The entire incident is recorded on camera, exposing Greenbelt's corruption, resulting in her arrest. The next day, at his shop, the worker girl thanks Max for the help and invites him for dinner, which he gladly accepts as he develops feelings for her. To make amends with the goon's friend, Max gifts her expensive watches. However, on his way back, some people mistakenly kidnap Max, thinking he's the real goon. Their car gets into an accident and Max loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself at the barber shop. The barber warns him about body switching abilities and gives him a mysterious marmalade that supposedly helps control his transformations. Max is surprised to hear this and questions how Barber knows about his unique ability. As Max talks to the barber, he is shocked to learn that the barber is in fact his long-lost father. His father reveals that he faked the goon's death and left the money and watches at Max's shop to protect him from his dangerous situation. Max is overjoyed to find his father alive and happy. They embrace each other, but Max also feels anger and questions why his father didn't come back to them earlier. His father admits to missing them, but explains that he couldn't return due to dangerous tasks he has gotten involved in. He shares the magical origins of the shoe mending machine, a precious gift from a man that he had saved in his family from the past. His friend then takes him to a secret place filled with shoes worn from historical figures from his family's past. These shoes hold immense value and significance. Max is in awe, realizing true extent of the family's legacy. His father reveals that their family business involves much more than just mending shoes. They also do dry cleaning and use the clothes they retrieve from other purposes, sewing them into a magical machine to change appearances. The power to change their getup isn't just limited to shoes, it extends to clothes, allowing them to take anyone's appearance in the world. With the newfound knowledge, Max and his father drive back home into a luxurious black car, living a life of happiness and contentment. Max's father has kept their family's extraordinary abilities a secret to protect them as the dangers associated with such powers. The incredible journey of mystery, adventure, and discovery concludes with Max and his father embracing their unique talents, using them wisely to lead a peaceful and fulfilling life together. Two lessons that can be learned from the movie are: number 1, family bonds and sacrifice. The movie highlights the importance of family bonds and the sacrifices one can make to protect their loved ones. Max's father faked the goon's death and went into hiding to keep his son safe. He endured years of separation to shield Max from danger and danger, displaying the strength of parental love and the willingness to sacrifice their family. Number 2, power and responsibility. The movie illustrates the idea that power comes from great responsibility. The magical ability to change appearances and take on one's getup holds immense power. It needs to be used wisely and ethically. Max and his father learn to harness the power of good, demonstrating the importance of responsible decision-making and understanding the consequences of their actions. So guys, that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, do consider subscribing. Bye guys!